Okay, some of the tools we will be using today are a vise for the upper receiver. This is a nice little gadget for getting the pins out of the A4 type, putting the pins in, pins out. So it works pretty good. Screwdriver, sometimes, well, now you always put electrical tape over the tip of it. Sometimes getting the barrel guards off, they get stuck and they're a royal pain in the keister. A good punch set, and of course your armorer's wrench to get the barrel off. So these are the basic tools you need. If anything else comes up, we'll grab it and show it to you. All right, let's get this bad boy apart. Okay, so we've got our upper, and we're going to go ahead now and remove the hand guards. The hand guards, if you get a delta ring, this is a brand new delta ring, it is sticky as all heck. So normally you can just pull down on the delta ring and pull these guys out, but sometimes they get stuck and they get tough. You can either use plastic tools, or if you just take some electrical tape and wrap it around a screwdriver, that'll usually get it started as well, and it'll take the guard right off. So, and then the back end should come out a heck of a lot easier once you get the first part out. So, handguard removal. Next, we go for the gas tube. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to take out this pin right here, and that's basically what holds that gas tube in place. So what I do is I take a punch that's exactly the same size, if at all possible, which is about 5/64. Well, this one's a 5/64, I believe it is. And we just tap it on through. And out she comes. Thing I like the Brownell's block. There's your pin, and you definitely, there it is. You don't want to lose this guy. Okay, this is where the upper vise comes in handy. This is, I can't remember, I think this was a Brownell's purchase a long time ago. It's been a while. But in a nutshell, put your upper receiver in, close it up, and you just put it in your vise. And that's how she wrote. All right, let's go to the next step, which is removing that gas tube. Once it's in the vise, basically you just gently push it into the upper receiver. One end comes out, and just gently, if you kind of twist and roll. Now, what I normally do on these, to remember which way it goes back in, I'll sometimes mark the top with a magic marker, but you don't have to do that. It just makes it easier in reassembly sometimes. Okay, now with that said, let's go ahead and remove the barrel next. Okay, so as you can see, you get your barrel nut, and this nut right here, the barrel nut, is obviously got these little grooves in here, and there's one groove at the top. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's actually a little bit bigger, and it's got a hole in the delta ring. That's when you put everything back together, you obviously want to make sure that hole is there. Otherwise, and you can turn it and get it around. Sometimes the spring gets in the way in the rear, but when we go over the reassembly, we'll go through that. It can be a pain in the neck, but you know, such as everything with building out ARs. All right, this is where your armorer's wrench comes in, and these armorer's wrenches, this one, it's made by Delta. You can get them at Brownell's. You can get them, well, pretty much anywhere, Cabela's these days, etc. So what we're going to do is put the wrench in, and these can be a bear to get off sometimes. There you go. Once you get that first turn off, the rest of it is fairly simple. Unscrew it. There we go, and then it just slides right out. Now the one thing you will notice is on the ends of these, there's oil. That when you go to put it back together, just make sure there's just a very, very light coating of oil on there. That way when you go to take it off, if for some reason you take it off in the future, it comes off easy and you don't have to fight with it. All right, let's go next step. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that this was a slick side upper. There's no forward assists. I'm just not a fan of parts that aren't useful, although it doesn't have a dust cover either. Now, dust cover can come in handy, especially if you're in states like Arizona with a lot of sand blowing around, Colorado, etc., like we are. But you know, I just keep it, you know, properly lubricated, and it usually doesn't become a problem. But I mean, if you have to have it, then, or if you need to remove the forward assist, this is one of my other ARs. Okay, there's the forward assist. You'll notice there's a pin here in the top. Basically, pull that pin out and it'll slide right out the back. Okay, so if you need to take that out, that's how you do it. Poke the pin out, slide it out the back, put it back in, put the pin back in. It's pretty simple. All right, let's move forward. Okay, now whenever you go to put this back together, the one thing you need to look at is this delta ring, okay? And you'll need to make sure that you can see all the way through that hole. And to do that, you need to make sure, and this is going to be, might be a little difficult to see, but you can see this spring in the retaining ring right here, okay? And you have to line those up. You notice there's no holes anywhere else on that delta ring. And so when you go to tighten this narrow barrel nut up, you have to make sure that these align with the top, so the gas tube can go straight through that hole. It can be a pain in the neck sometimes, but you know, if you take, when you get it assembled, and I'll probably have to do this, you take a screwdriver and just kind of move these around till you get them up at the top. So let's go ahead and put the barrel back together. Okay, so I put a little bit of oil on the barrel, put it back in and tightened up my ring, hand tightened. 30 to 80 foot-pounds of torque. After you do these for long enough, you can pretty much feel where that torque is. And right about there should be good. And it looks like I missed just a hair here. We're gonna try to reposition the camera so I can show you this. Okay, let's see if I can get in tight here. Okay, so right in here is where you need to make sure, where you need to make sure everything lines up, okay? And I've got, it looks like I have one of the spring is just a hair off, so I'm gonna take this punch and just kind of shift it a little. And unfortunately, this is gonna be difficult to see, but there we go. Just a little push, and I know it's difficult to see, but that hole is now aligned. So now what we have to do is take the delta ring and align the hole in the delta ring as well. And let's see if we can reposition here so you'll be able to see that a little bit better. And there's the hole for the delta ring. So I'm gonna try to torque this down just a little bit more, see if we can't get that to line up just a hair better. There we go. And for the tube, put it in the same way it came out. Another trick of the trade is you can see this hole right here in the bottom. That, oh, sorry about, there we go. This hole, when you put the gas tube in, it just faces down into the bottom. So we're gonna feed it into the delta. Oop. Oh, my springs are off by one hole. Let's go ahead and move these. Okay. Oh, a little too much there. All right, that's better. It's probably the most frustrating part of any build, this gas tube. It's a royal pain. That's pain number 2. When you turn the delta ring, it's good to put a screwdriver in there so it doesn't move that inner spring on you. All right, let's turn this and get that hole back aligned. There she is. Okay, once you have everything aligned in the ring, one thing to keep in mind too is if you've marked the top, that's great, but also if you didn't mark the top, at the very, there's a hole in the gas tube that goes down when it's going into the side end of the barrel. So get your gas tube in here. Basically, it's just an easy little wiggle here and there. It should slide right in. And then once you get into position, you feed it back towards the front. And let's go ahead and stop the camera. We'll show you that part. Okay, when you're putting your pin back in, you want to make sure obviously that you can see all the way through the hole. I can see orange behind there, so I know it's good. If it's a little off, you could just take your punch and kind of wiggle it around, and once it goes, the punch goes through, you know you're in a good spot. Okay, so then grab your pin that you took out earlier, put it right back on there. I prefer to use the rubber side. Get it started, take your punch. It only has to be even with the outside. And there you go, there's your gas tube. Your pin's back in place, gas tube's back in place. Okay, just like so. Be right back. Okay, the last step's put those handguards in. And these are never fun. I don't care who you are or what you're taking out. So the good thing about the handguards is, I don't know if the camera will show it, but the bottom is usually marked, and they're usually marked with B and then a number to correspond where to put your accessories. And the other one will be usually marked with a T and then R and L. So right, top, left, and B is for bottom. So what I like to do is, well, actually the only way to do it, honestly, is to put the front sight in first, pull down the delta ring, and slide it right into place. And then turn it around and do the same for the top side. And this top side is going to be a pain in the butt because these are really horrible. I don't know what's worse, these things are plastic ones. And this will be a screwdriver trick one. I'm gonna grab my screwdriver and pry this back in. And there you have it. That's it. All back together again. Like I said, these handguards are a pain in the butt. I highly recommend against them. But up in another video, we'll try to find something that's a little easier to put on here. Fortunately, this is a demo, so I don't care about scratching it up so much. But you don't want to scratch up your rifle because, well, we like them black. Anyway, so if you subscribe to the videos, you'll see the other ones as they come out. You'll get notified. Hit the little bell for the notifications. You can do us a favor, small family-owned business. If you subscribe to the channel, that would really help us out as well. And we look forward to seeing you again. So, you know, train hard and stay safe out there.